What is up, everyone, and welcome to a very special speedrun of Hades, presented by Windows and Intel. With Windows and Intel, you have more ways to work your way, so you can do whatever it is you're inspired to do. I'm Mark Medina, master of speedrun ceremonies over at IGN.com, where you can watch a new episode of Devs React to Speedrun every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. But today, we're going to do something a little different. Hades is a game full of iconic Greek gods, frantic combat, and incredible voice acting. So joining me to react to a speedrun of IGN's 2020 Game of the Year are some of the stars of Hades, Francesca Meaux.
Hi.
And Courtney Vineys.
Hello.
I'm super glad to have you both here. Starting with Francesca, who do you play in Hades?
Yes, so I'm the voice of Eurydice.
And Courtney, who do you play?
I am the voice of both Dusa and Aphrodite.
All right, and we also have the speedrunner here, speedrunner Vorime. How's it going, man?
Hey, guys.
All right, so here we are. There's Hades. It's as beautiful as I remember. I haven't played it in a little bit. Vorime, who are you, and what speedrun are you going to be doing for us today?
So I'm obviously a Hades speedrunner. I've been running the game for a year and a half since early access. So relatively like in the middle of early access. And today we're going to be doing a 3 weapons run, which is pretty simple. You just complete the game with 3 different weapons.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get it started. And I have a million more questions about how this speedrun works.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
So when does the timer start?
So time starts at control of Zag. So like when you drop out of the window, and time ends on the last Hades kill.
All right. Let's do it then.
All right, and we're going to be starting with sword here today. It's a little bit risky, but it's really fun, and I want to do it, so that's what we're doing.
Okay, is that the Nemesis sword?
Yes, the nemesis aspect of the sword.
Nice.
Nice.
So what?
Hang on, I got to give us a countdown here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Time in 3, 2, 1, go.
So who came up with the idea that it's like, hey, we're going to do this speed run. It's just going to be, we're just going to beat the game 3 times.
So
like,
actually
it
initially started as all weapons. So all weapons is complete a game with every single weapon, which, logically, makes a little bit more sense, right? As a category, complete the game with everything the game has to offer. So kind of like 100%, but not really. Mm-hmm. But it was just a little bit long, and a lot of people were intimidated by it, because that category runs around 2 hours.
Mm.
So yeah, we decided
at one time.
Yeah, so we decided to introduce the 3 weapons category, and it's been a hit.
Look who it was for a split
I know her.
Yeah, so Vorime, so we have Dusa, we have Aphrodite, and then we have Eurydice. How often are we going to see these characters?
Well, Aphrodite will actually see a fair bit. She actually has some really powerful boons that we use in speedruns, so hopefully we'll see a fair bit of Aphrodite. Eurydice is kind of random. We don't have any control over whether we see Eurydice, but we're going to really hope to see Eurydice because she comes with a free room, which saves a bunch of time because we don't have to fight any enemies.
And because we have the voice actors here, if we see those characters, you'll let them talk so everybody can hear, right?
No skipping through dialogue.
I don't know about that.
No promises.
So what, Francesca and Courtney, like, what's it like to see people play this game after all this? Like, when did you guys first film this? Or, record this?
I did my first recording in, I want to say it was the summer of 2018, maybe. Obviously the game was released in early access. And so I did a couple of different recording sessions with Darren over the course of early access, just because more content was being added on a pretty regular basis. So, but I think my first recording session was summer of 2018, and I think my last one was April of 2020. What about you, Francesca? Oh, wow. Yeah, how many sessions did you do?
I did, let's see, me and Darren, I believe, did 2. We did 2, no, there was a third one in there, I think. But I started, well, they first contacted me at the end of 2019, which was really cool because it was like really close to my birthday. So I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so we did a few sessions in 2020. And then she was added pretty quickly into the game. I mean, I didn't have to wait at all. Like, you know how sometimes after you like record something, you got to kind of wait a while in order to actually like see it. She was added pretty quickly. So it was really cool to get to see, because Hades was like my first like big game. So
what has been the like your reaction to the reaction of Hades? Because Hades is a weird one. I remember it was, you know, I'm a big Supergiant fan. A lot of people are. And I remember it was like, I think it was the Game Awards of 2018. Maybe Vorime knows better than me. But I think it was I think it was the Game Awards of 2018. They were like, hey, this is the new Supergiant game, Hades, coming to early access. So it didn't get this like, not that it didn't get like the fanfare it deserves. It definitely did, but like it wasn't like, and the game's out. It was early access, and I think you could play it almost immediately. I think.
Yeah, it came out that night. They announced it at the Game Awards, and then it was available, I think, then. So you could basically go home and get it and start playing it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think people it sort of generated its own hype that night, but it took a little while. I think it was a little shocking for people. It was very unexpected, and so yeah, it was really interesting to sort of see the growth of the fandom, where people, you know, you had your diehard Supergiant fans who went and got it right away, and then it was definitely it felt like a snowball.
Where now it's like, I feel like it's like one of the biggest games in the world. Like you're always hearing about it. It's like at all these shows. It's, you know, about to come to the consoles and stuff. How did it feel being in a game? Not to you know pump us up, but how did it feel being in a game that got like IGN's Game of the Year?
oh my God, I screamed about it. I don't know about you, Courtney, but I screamed. I was literally on my couch with my kids and my dog, and we were just like all night long and just like literally congratulating everyone, because putting out a game is hard, period, no matter what. You know what I mean? And so the fact that it was so well received and so many people were just so into it, for me, it was quite shocking. Not to say that I didn't believe in it, because I totally did, but I guess it was a lot bigger than what I could have imagined and became its own entity in a lot of ways.
Big same. I've also been a fan of Supergiant for a long time, and like it was so surreal, because I know that they make good games. They're very good games, and to see them getting this like recognition and to like really just, they've grown so much, and it was really wild. I'm pretty sure I like cried every single time Hades won something new. I was just like, they deserve it. They're such nice people and they're so talented. And so yeah, it's been a really wild ride. I'm so happy for Supergiant. Just they make such good art. I think is how I like to say it. Just every aspect of these games is it's so wild, because it's not surprising to me that they're winning these games, but that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't make me emotional. It doesn't make me just like super jazzed. So yeah, it was very cool.
I was kind of like the same way. We recorded a Devs React to Speedrun for Hades, you know, a couple months before it won our Game of the Year. And so I'm on the call with Greg and Amir, and I'm just like, yeah, Hades, Devs React, let's do this. By the way, I really love Bastion, and you guys are great. like Bastion is one of my favorite games of all time. So it's like, not that their games haven't gotten like, you know, the respect they deserve, but like I feel like Hades is just on this other level where I'm like, everyone loves Hades, and I'm like, if you love Hades, they have Transcendence, they have Bastion, what was their other one? Pyre.
Mm-hmm.
Pyre. There it is, Pyre. Vorime, what about you? You know, you've been playing this game well before it became like, you know, Game of the Year winner, you know, yeah. Hades. How does it feel, like knowing that you're like, hey, I'm this pro speedrunner, and it's like, whoa, now this game I'm speedrunning is getting all this crazy amount of attention? Like, did you see like stream traffic like increase or anything like that, or?
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course. It was, I went from streaming to, it was like 3 to 10 people, and then the game launched, and it was like over 100 overnight,
Nice.
practically. But no, I was, as well as I didn't work on the game, obviously.
Right.
I just ran it. But I was so thrilled when they were winning all the awards. I couldn't be happier for them. They're just great people. Every interaction I've had with them, they're just wonderful. And every conversation you have with them, kind of, you understand why the games that they make are so good.
I know, the gameplay is just so good. I always wonder if a game, obviously I don't have sales figures in front of me, but I wonder if the game coming to Switch became a thing, because I remember so many people started playing it once it came to Switch, because then it was like, hey, it's this game I can play anywhere, and because it's a roguelike, it's like I could just boot it up and I could just play around, die, and who cares, I'm waiting for an airplane or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just hitting more of an audience.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the answer, but I totally get where you are, because I also play Hades on my Switch a lot. I tend to bring that around with me, and it is nice. Any place I have to sit for a long time, it's usually like, we're just gonna play a little bit of Hades real quick. Varime, I have a question for you, Varime.
Yeah.
I know that there are a couple different learnies. Is there a learnie that speedrunners kind of cross their fingers for? There's the green one and the pink and blue one and the pink one. Is there one that's faster to take out, or does that not matter?
Actually, yeah, it's a good question. I would say that the orange lava spewing head is the fastest one. It's the least dangerous. Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is scary. There we go. It's the least dangerous one, and there's some trickiness with the other heads. For example, the blue horned Lurny head tends to do a big multi-slam attack.
Yeah.
And Lurny has invincibility frames during that attack, so you actually can't deal damage to the boss. So it's actually really slow.
This gameplay is insane, dude.
Thanks.
This is not what it looks like when I play the game. I'm always hiding behind stuff and just trying to not take hits.
Yeah, seriously. Do you know where the enemies are going to spawn? Someone was in my stream the other day and they were like, oh yeah, I was looking up on Wikipedia to see where enemies spawn. And I was like, I've never thought to do that. Is that something that you do, or is it random? Because I always just assumed it was random, even though I've played hundreds of hours of this game.
Yeah, so there are, I believe, set locations where they can spawn, but I'm not so much looking for that as much as manipulating where they spawn by moving around the room. So they actually, enemies spawn close to Zagreus. They try and spawn within a certain distance of Zagreus. So you'll see me often try and hug a wall or stay near the exit door so that everything spawns as close to the exit as possible. That way I can go fast.
Yeah, you don't lose precious seconds running across a room once you've cleared it.
Francesca, how much have you played Hades? And it's okay if it's not a lot. You don't have to play every game you voice.
No, I have. I've played a few hours of it. Now ask me how far I've gotten. So I've played a few hours of it. I really, really, really enjoy it. I haven't gotten very far. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm gonna start using that wall hugging technique, because I'm very much the type of person who does not use block. They just kind of run around and just start chopping and hacking away at things without much of a plan. But yeah, I've played her a lot. I like Hades.
I beat the game, I think, twice. There was this internal IGN thing where everybody was slagging, just talking about how many times they've beaten it, and I'm I think at the time I hadn't even beaten it once, and I was like, I'm working on it. Every time I die, I get a little closer. So
Yeah.
It gets hard towards the end.
It does, yeah. It is. I loved when Styx first came out, when they released the Styx biome, and it just felt so different from all the other biomes. It threw me for a bit, but I thought that was a real fun way to mix it up.
Hey, Vorime, how many times have you beat the game?
It's not countable. I could not tell you. I can tell you that I am approaching 2,000 hours in Steam.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Never done anything for 2,000 hours. Maybe sleep.
I know I've done that.
I've done that in the past week, guys. Come on.
Well, wait a minute. Aren't you out in California? I know you have been on the roads for at least half of that.
It's traffic, yeah. Spend more time in traffic
Not
than
anymore.
sleeping.
I went from 2 hours each way to just now I just work from home. The only traffic I get now is like when I walk out into my hallway and like my dog or cat are in the way. I'm like, oh, come on. Not today, guys. The only troubles I have now, I used to when I lived in the San Francisco area, I'd be like, oh, I love when it's summer because there's less traffic. And it turns out, being in a more rural area, I still love that it's summer because the Starbucks drive-throughs are less populated. So that's my only problem now is when I pull up to a Starbucks drive-through and there's like a super big line. I'm like, oh, traffic! Gosh, can't believe it. One day I'll start making coffee at home.
One day.
Maybe. Who knows?
Just not soon.
What are some of your guys' favorite? Do you remember any of the lines you guys recorded? I know that you probably both read quite a bit. Do you remember like what it was like recording them? What maybe some of your favorite lines were?
Ooh, it's so funny. I remember laughing very hard at the Dusa lines where she's talking about or interacting with Cerberus. That was something that I just like really tickled me because she's ball shaped. And they basically like acknowledge in the game that of course Cerberus would try to eat or play with a ball-shaped entity.
I mean, who isn't?
Like I know, yeah, she was just like, please don't eat me. Or yeah, just there's like an allusion to like there have been instances in the past where Cerberus has tried to play with Dusa as if she was a toy. And that just kind of shows like how funny and thoughtful and silly Supergiant can be. I remember reading those lines and just being really, really charmed by them. So I would say that's my answer.
This is like sorry to interrupt. This is like almost the end of the game already.
I know. It's wild.
Vorime, can you slow it down? Not interested.
Well, depending on our luck here in Sticks, we might be slowing it down a little bit.
Ooh, are you playing on like a modded version, or is this just
Completely
the
unmodded?
Completely unmodded. Oh my gosh!
We are
So you
rolling
could.
the dice.
Oh, you might have to go through all 5 tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Is that normally how you play, or like when you mod a game, is that generally just for something like oh my god, what's it called? Hermes Cup or one of those like tournaments, like, or when you're on your own, do you just play unmodded?
For a long time, it was strictly like for events. You would have like some mods that made the events a little bit more exciting. But now we actually do have modded leaderboards.
Oh, okay.
I personally, I don't run the modded categories, not because I'm not interested, but because there's just only so much time. By the way, we got the 2-sack.
Yeah, nice.
Why mod when you could just get the 2-sack?
Yeah, there you go.
Does Hades have? Sorry to like my ignorance here. Hades has seeds, right?
Yes.
Can you play seeded?
They work. This is like a rabbit hole, but essentially they don't work the way you would expect. So if you start on a known seed, you're only really guaranteed the first couple rewards. After that, you have to do RNG manipulation. It's like it's a whole subgenre of Hades runs. Yeah.
There he is, the god of the dead himself, and we've only been playing for like less than 20 minutes. I would still be in the Hades throne room talking to every single character.
Yeah, I don't even know what this room looks like.
And you haven't died at all either. I remember you told us before the stream that you were going a little risky and that you could end up dying.
Yeah, you haven't taken a single death defiance, so
yeah,
you have pretty solid health.
Brian's like,
right
well,
sometimes it works out.
So how does 3-weapon work? Like, I assume you don't reset the game. You just go and do another run, correct?
Yeah. So the time it takes you to run through the house and pick your next weapon and stuff, that's all included. So.
Okay. Oh my god.
So we got to watch this little ending cutscene that's coming up, and then and then move on to the next weapon, which I think I'm gonna make the Beowulf aspect of the shield.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't beaten Hades. It doesn't mean a whole lot. You
Thanks
still just
for
go
reading.
right back to hell.
Yeah, there's a lot of story stuff that does happen your first few clears, but eventually. Oh, we got the longest possible cutscene. This is one of those RNG things. This is actually like 10 to 20 seconds longer than any other outro cutscene.
Really? Oh no.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Vorime, what other games do you speedrun? Any other games?
Yeah, I've dabbled. A long time ago, I ran Ocarina of Time. More recently, I ran Left 4 Dead and Hollow Knight a little bit.
Oh, cool. And what was it about Hades that you were like, I'm going to play 2,000 hours of this game?
It's just so fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. I
And
get it.
there's just so many ways to play it.
It's true. It's I definitely did not think I would be putting hundreds of hours into a game, especially a game that I do voices in, because there's something about that that does feel a little vain, but it's truly just that good of a game. Like if I had nothing to do with this game, I would still love it. It's fun. Oh, wait, okay. So you took Beowulf. Oh, I have a question about heat, Vorime. You are playing with 12 heat, and I know that some of that heat is on extreme measures, because the extreme measures to Learny is faster than not having extreme measures. What other heat do you have right now?
I have tight deadline on. Just one point in it is enough to turn off the 45-second survival encounters in Tartarus. But we put all the points in, both for access to Erebus gates, and just because you can, it makes the heat number bigger. You know, you flex a little bit.
There she is.
I know her.
And then the other heat, I have Forced Overtime 1, which makes enemies move and attack a little bit faster, but it also makes them spawn in a little bit faster as well. So it saves you a little bit of time every time you're waiting for a wave to spawn.
Got it.
I want to see Eurydice so bad.
Hopefully we'll see Eurydice in this run, because actually really helpful for Beowulf specifically.
I'm always so delighted to come across Eurydice. She is so helpful. She makes every run better. And so yeah, Francesca, I am so grateful for you.
Thank you. Honestly, she was so much fun to record. Like we spent so much time like laughing over just the way to say things, if that makes sense. Because like when they initially approached me about it, she was a lot more upset about it. And I was like, well, you know, she's kind of in hell, so that's a long time to be mad. Like forever's like a long, long time. And so they're like, yeah, so we kind of like pulled her back just a little bit and kind of gave her a more like cavalier feel, because it's like, I'm over it, but what did he say? You know,
That's so interesting.
I read.
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying
That's
that's
definitely
so
the vibe.
interesting. I really like it. It's like she could easily just be like really angry, and I feel like that would have been way less fun to maybe voice, or maybe even like a little more exhausting. Like this just felt really relatable, where it was like you said, just like maybe more exasperated and like like eye rolly. And there's a lot more like comedy in that. I really love I love how you handled it. Like, and it also the moments where there is that anger, I think that makes it hit a little bit heavier, where Eurydice does get like frustrated, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person who's normally like pretty chill about a situation is you know, kind of upset, so you know to take her seriously. And I like that. There's nuance.
Thank you.
I also love this idea, like, I'm not a voice actor, obviously. I love this idea that they gave you guys the freedom to kind of be like, for you, Francesca, to be able to see your lines and be like, all right, well, I accept your direction, but I think it would be, you know, kind of like this. And so to kind of like tweak it to your own flavor. I think that's super cool.
Well, yeah, because like in all things, like it's collaboration. You know what I mean? So it's very much we always kind of read through, and you know, Darren was awesome. He's such an awesome voice director. And so, you know, we would listen and just kind of feel it out together, if that makes sense. It's like we would read it like his way, and then I would try my way, and then we'd find our way in the middle. You know what I mean? And so I really, really liked that kind of like I said, collaboration and freedom, as you said, just to kind of help to create this person, because she is who she is on paper, and then you really have to just bring that to life with all your roles. You're bringing a part of you into that, if that makes sense. Yeah, she was awesome.
Speaking of bringing things to life, so I spent the morning toiling away. I've listened to so much of your guys' voice acting this morning because I'm just like on YouTube and I'm just like Hades game, Dusa lines, and I'm just like going through every single one, all the Aphrodite's lines, all the Eurydice lines, because I'm like, we can't have voice actors for the game on a stream and not have them voice act. Like, I'm sorry, that's the rules, right? You gotta have it.
It's the law.
It's
we
the
must
law.
abide.
That's what
It's science.
But also, I was like, okay, they've already voiced these lines before. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna mix it up a little. So I went through and I found a bunch of lines for you guys. Well, not too many. And I made them into Mad Libs. And so we're gonna write new lines for you guys that are gonna be, the skeleton's still there. But maybe instead of Olympus, you're in a Wendy's instead. So, all right. So we're gonna start. Courtney. Okay, everyone knows what a Mad Lib is, right? We're just gonna replace a bunch of words with no context, and then we're going to voice act it after. We're gonna do our best. I'll be playing the role of Zagreus because there was no one else, and I can't make Vorime read because he's playing a video game right now.
A little busy.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here. Okay, so first, Courtney, we'll start with you.
Okay.
And we're going to try to keep it family friendly. We're going to try to keep it funny. Okay?
Always.
So this is for...
Eurydice coming up.
We got a Eurydice room.
Okay, hold on.
Oh,
We'll wait.
snap.
We haven't even
Time
started,
out.
so we're just going to look at Eurydice first. There you are! Oh, and we get to see her way more than we ever got to see Aphrodite. And that was it.
Me and
Bye,
Ashley,
Eurydice.
by the way.
That was it. She's gone. So what did she do for
Nice.
you?
Gave me 4 palms, 4 levels in my boons.
Well, thanks, Francesca. You did great.
Welcome. Y'all need a little palm.
All right, Courtney, we're going to start with you. So give me
Right.
an action.
An action?
Like something you would do.
Knitting.
Knitting. Okay. All right. And then, Francesca, give me a brand name.
Ooh. Let's make it fun. And let's say, Vorime.
I don't even know how to spell that. Y'all know when you see the doc, you'll get it. You'll get it. All right, Vorime. I
boy.
would like. Let's see. Let's see here. Give me a body part. Just remember, we're keeping it family friendly.
Let's go elbow.
All right.
Good one.
Have fun, Francesca. Okay, let's see here. Courtney, give
Yes.
me another body part.
A nostril.
Okay.
Okay. Vorime, I see that you are in a Thanatos room.
Yep.
Did you have one in your last run also, or is this the first time we're seeing Than?
Honestly, it's all a blur. I don't think I did.
Okay. I was gonna say, so if you normally, I thought if you put on tight deadline, doesn't that usually make Than rooms disappear, or is that only for the timed trial
Yeah,
rooms?
It's only for the survival rooms,
Got
unfortunately.
it. Okay. I'm ready to go back. I had just one quick question about the game.
Nope, that's fine. Let's see here. Okay, Francesca, I need a descriptive term. I know there's a real word for that, but I figured I'd keep it easy.
Crunchy.
Crunchy?
Crunchy.
All right. And another action from Vorime. I need an action.
An action.
Yeah, something somebody would do. He's like, I'm playing a video game.
Yeah.
He's just doing a little boss fight right now. Oh, he's got the smashy learny. So this is the one he was talking about before.
Yep. We can go with fighting. That's what I'm doing right now, so it's all I can think of. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
This is really putting Varime's skills to the test. This is a big testament, the fact that he can listen to us, respond to our questions.
And do a Mad Lib at the same time.
Do a Mad Lib and speedrun the game. I've played this game and I'm very bad at multitasking. So if I have to do anything else while playing the game, it gets paused. If I were to do an RTA run, it would be like 2 hours. My in-game time would be much less than that. But yeah. It's wild that you can multitask this intensely.
All right, Courtney, can I get a funny term of endearment?
Ooh, honey butt.
That's good.
And then Francesca, I just need an action from you.
Ooh. Let's see. Leap.
I added one for myself.
Did you?
All right, this isn't going to make any sense. I guess that's a Mad Lib, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think so.
All right, Francesca, are you ready to do some voice acting?
I think so.
Okay, so you should have your doc, and it should be ready and updated for you. You're the Eurydice lines, obviously, and I'll play Zagreus.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
So, how's Orpheus been doing lately anyway? Still keeping his nostril and the neat little crunchy. I guess his tan must have fought by now.
Nostril? Not exactly, no. But he's doing all right. For him, he started leaping again, which is a big step. He never used to before. Would go on about how he's lost his honey butt.
And now he knows I'm... Alright. And now he knows I'm out there still, huh? Well, thank you for the update, hun. Leaping is his gift. Good to know he's not juggling everything anyway.
That ended up working out pretty good.
I totally
Perfect.
That's so funny.
Vorime, how's it going? How's the speedrun doing?
It's going okay. We're looking for a duo boon, and we haven't found it yet, and it's making me a little bit sad, but otherwise we're okay.
Which duo boon? I saw that you got Merciful End on your last run, which I wanted to say congratulations. I feel like I never get Merciful End when I try to get it. So what duo boon are you looking for here?
Looking for Mirage Shot, which is the duo between Artemis and Poseidon. It makes your cast have an extra... It basically like doubles your cast. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to have reduced damage, but it's actually bugged on Beowulf, and there's no reduced damage. It's just straight up double damage. So that's what we're looking for.
Oh, wow. So you're running Beowulf, which is like a cast run build is what you're going for. So
Yeah.
what are you looking for throughout this game? Are you trying, like, I guess that means you're trying to get like Chaos has like a few different things that you could get where you get like an extra cast in there. Like, what else are you looking for when you run with like Beowulf or Hera or any of the other, like Poseidon, like any of the other cast aspects?
Yeah. So it kind of depends, unfortunately, because there is so much variety in this game. It really depends on what you're doing. But generally speaking, cast damage or percentage global damage are always really good on casts because they have really high flat damage numbers. So we're looking for like palms in the casts. We're looking for, like you said, chaos to either get extra stones or extra cast percent damage. On Poseidon specifically, we were looking for wave pounding, which we did get.
Nice.
That kind of thing.
Okay. I'm taking notes because I would like to try to get my times down. I thought when I first started playing this game, like after playing it for a bit, I was like, I can clear this pretty quickly. And then I watched Hermes Cup and was like, oh, everyone's doing sub 10 and I'm not sub 20. So it is very impressive.
Courtney, you're like pretty involved with speedrunning for this, right?
A little bit. Back in October, I started watching and attending Hermes Cup, which was a speedrunning event. And I didn't know about speedrunning before this, but I will say that speedrunning really changes like how you approach this game. It's really interesting because before, luckily I had already like finished the game, but once I started trying to go faster and you start like thinking really critically about everything that you choose and every little choice that you make, it changes how you look at the game and it changes how you play. And it's really hard to get back into a not speedrunning mindset.
Yeah.
So it's funny when I'll put the game down for a little bit and then I'll pick it back up. I'm like, I'm just gonna have some fun. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to pick the boons that I like never get to pick because they don't make me go any faster or help me clear rooms any quicker. It's just like, this sounds fun. I'm going to play with this and see what happens. But yeah, I'm a little bit competitive. So when I find out that a competition is happening, I'm like, I'm gonna try if I can do that. Try and see if I can do that. And I definitely do not think I will be publicly competing in any speedrun events anytime soon, but I do have a pretty good PB, so I'll be proud of myself for that.
I'm kind of the same way. I speedrun a game as well, and I would never get to that point where I'm like, I'm gonna publicly like, you know, I've like done live streams and stuff like on IGN's channel and stuff like that, but I would never like try to race anybody or be like, I'm good enough to enter a tournament or something like that. But it's good fun. It's a good way to keep playing a game that you really, really enjoy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. It's so fun to just even compete against yourself where you're like, I can do better next time. I can go faster than that. Or like, I should have taken this boon instead of that boon. So it definitely, Hades can be a little brain worm. That's a little bit hard to get out sometimes. Hence why I've put in hundreds of hours myself. But yeah, also like on top of like, when you're doing a speedrunning tournament, you're not only just like going fast for yourself, but like people are watching you. And I think that pressure would break me. I don't think I could do
It's
that.
tough.
That seems, oh my gosh, it's really impressive.
Vorime, you're doing great, even though, you know, like 8 people are watching you. and then, you know, the live stream. You're doing fantastic.
Yeah, my favorite.
Even if you were making mistakes, I wouldn't know.
Wouldn't
it all
know.
just looks super flashy and amazing and way better than I could ever do.
I love when I just blink and you're out of the room. I'm like, oh, especially in sticks. It's just like, oh, and they're all gone. Okay.
Mirage shot. Hey, we got
Is this
Sweet Nectar
another-
instead.
Oh, is this another 2-sack that you just got?
No, that was a 3-sack
Oh,
actually.
3-sack. Again,
Yeah.
just a testament to how fast you're going.
It's so funny you seeing the like boons and whatever they are. It's like I sit there for like an hour like reading each one and I'm like,
That was one of the skills I picked up early on actually, was just recognizing each boon by its icon, so I don't have to read. I just see the icon and I know what I'm doing.
Like, do I want my dash to be a little bit better? It's always like how I'm playing that day. I'm like, today I'm feeling not so reactionary, so I'm gonna go with this or whatever. Look at you, already beating the game again.
This is
Your
incredible.
second time beating it, correct?
Yeah, this will be second. Next up we'll have Haribo, and that'll be the last run.
It's like absolutely wild.
Oh. Yeah, this is
Usually
incredible.
killing me.
love the big numbers you get from that cast damage.
Yeah, I wish we had
It's-
Mirage Shot because they would be twice as large, but
I know, yeah.
unfortunately did not get there.
It's just
Courtney,
so fluid.
When you speedrun, like what category do you do? Just beating the game?
Oh,
or-
just beating the game. I definitely don't have the attention span to play 3 games back to back in a row. I need a break after like one run. Whenever it's funny, I'll do like an attempt at a speed run in like on my stream, and I wasn't joking when I say it'll take me like 2 hours to get through it, because even though my in-game time is maybe only like 13 minutes, I'll like take a break and like chat, forget what I'm doing for a little bit, spend way too much time thinking about like what boon I'm going to take. So yeah, these RTA runs are not for me.
She takes it easy in her speedruns.
I do.
That's the benefit of those in-game time speedruns. They're so approachable. They're so easy to get
So
into.
approachable. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Maybe one day I'll attempt one of these longer runs, but I have a very short attention span, so we'll see. We'll see about that.
I'm kind of the same way. The game I speedrun, I run the shortest category because like trying to like, you know, I like to like get a run done and like maybe do a couple whatever. You know, they're only like 15 minutes long, but it's like the next category up is an hour, and I'm like, an hour? Who's got the time? Me. Because I speedrun the short version for like 2 or 3 hours at a time.
I have
But,
that same thought a lot.
It's like that same thing where you're like, I don't want to watch a movie. That's 2 hours of my life. And then you'll watch a television show and you watch it for like 5 straight hours. And you're like, see, but I didn't have time for a movie. I did have time for 5 episodes of this television show, though.
Got Aphrodite again here.
Hey, look, there she. Oh.
I know her.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Oh, it was quick. It was quick. Sorry.
And we don't get to see Dusa at all, huh?
No, she just hangs out in the house. Not hangs out. She's working very hard.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Being a ball for Cerberus and all that good stuff.
Exactly.
So when it comes to voice acting, you know, you guys are both voice actors. Who do you guys look up to in the industry? I'm curious. Like who are some of your favorite voice actors like in the industry?
Ooh. Fran, do you want to take this one first?
You can go first because I'm compiling a list in my head.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Like, can I do a top 10 or
Top 10? Okay, the first voice actor I think I ever like cared about when I was a kid was Billy West. Because I grew up watching Nick cartoons. And I remember just like finding out, oh my gosh, Billy West also like is this character and this character, and I just remember being like, wow, you can be one person and have so much range. And that's probably my favorite thing about voice acting, is that it's much harder to be typecast. There's a lot more freedom in it. So yeah, also Tara Strong, who was recently the voice of Miss Minutes. It was fun. I learning like, oh my gosh, I grew up with this person and I didn't even know it. So I'll say those are maybe my top 2 right now.
I would definitely have to say Jodie Benson. She is amazing, and whatever she does, it doesn't matter. Let's see here. Steve Blum is another one that I grew up listening to and really like emulated a lot of like his kind of cavalier, kind of tough guy feel with a lot of his characters. Let's see here. Definitely Crispin Freeman. I actually got to learn with him years and years ago. Wonderful person, amazing voice actor. I love how fluid he is with every single role. It doesn't matter like what he's doing, he slips into it, and that's something that for some people can be hard to do. If you don't understand a character or you're not into the script, but every performance of his I quite enjoy. And oh gosh, I'm blanking on a name here. I'm blanking on a name. Maybe you can help me, Courtney. He was the voice of Whis in the latest Dragon Ball.
Oh my gosh.
I'm blanking on it, and he's been in so many things. I love him to death.
I'm blanking. It's gonna at the second we're done.
He was
recording.
Space Dandy. Yeah, I know. And the second we're done too, he was Space Dandy. He was Whis in Dragon Ball. He's probably screaming at the thing if he's watching this right now. Is it Ian Sinclair? Ian Sinclair, is that his name? I think it is. He does a. Yes, he does
Producer
so
Nick
much.
says it is.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're wonderful. He does so good work. Like I gush over Ian Sinclair. I absolutely love him. So yeah, those are mine. Those are my tops.
What about you, Vorime? Do you you know? I assume Hades is not the only video game you play.
As far as
it's also okay if you don't have any, or if you're busy.
I mean, I guess now is
to
also
say.
a good time to shout out Logan Cunningham.
Yes.
Sort of the voice of Supergiant. He did 6 different voices in this game.
it's ridiculous, yeah.
What? That's and managed to make them all sound different.
Yes.
I remember playing Bastion and just being like, "Oh my gosh, this like he like made that game, right?
Oh.
Like he just like he's who you think of when you play that game
Oh,
because he's just like this like overseer godlike creature, and he's just he's amazing. Hey, look, it's Francesca again.
Hi, girl.
Oh my gosh, two Francescas.
No, I love when they did the cast reveal video for Hades, and he pulls out that piece of paper and was like, you know, he said Hades, yada yada, and he's just like listing off all of these people and just like, by the way, that was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
I literally
It
was screaming at the screen. Logan.
No, that was.
And so what was it that made you both want to like get into voice acting? What was it like growing up with characters and being like, I kind of want to do this, like, because I know there's a lot of people, you know, that I follow on Twitter and stuff like that. They, you know, there's actually people that I work with that have like been in a few different things here and there, and it's like it's super cool that it's like it is this thing that it's like people really want to get into. I think it's super fascinating, and I think it's a lot harder than it looks. And so like, what was it about, you know, was it just the industry, or was it just like, hey, I have a cool voice, I want to talk into a microphone?
I want to say for me, it was growing up watching and listening. Like one of the very, very, very first things that I got to listen to that kind of made me think about voice acting was the original 90s dub of Sailor Moon. I was all about that. All about it. Like that was my show. And then I got really, really into Reboot, which Stevie Valance was the voice of Mouse in that. And I got to train with her for a while. And I absolutely just like loved the dialogue. That's when I became like obsessed with dialogue. But I was very much an arcade gamer. So I was like on my Game Boy, like reading all the time. So like I only got to hear voice acting in shows until Final Fantasy X came out. And I completely, I remember because it was like PlayStation used to have this thing where it was like a club or whatever, and they would send you a demo disc with like games on it, and you got to play about 15 to 20 minutes of them. And so on one of my demo discs, Final Fantasy X was on there, and I probably played that demo at least 200 times just so I could listen to everyone, because it was like the first, like games had stories, you know what I mean? And I knew that, but like this was the first one that I was actually like honed in on hardcore and really invested in. And so I was like, wow, like tell like stories just like with shows and games, like on a massive scale. And it was just something that's ever since Final Fantasy X like cemented it for me. I was like, that's what I'm doing. Period.
Final Fantasy X, my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. So that's a very good one.
Yeah. And they just celebrated their 20th. So, whew, go on. I love that game. I love
remember
it.
there was that screenshot going around a while. And it was like what you think Final Fantasy was 20 years ago, and it's like Final Fantasy on like the regular Nintendo, and it's like 8-bit, and it's like what it actually was, and it's like Final Fantasy 10, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well,
Where
and
did
honestly, Final Fantasy, and it was one of those things too where it was so crazy because it you had so many emotions going through it. Yeah, just like even like just briefly like the story of Waka and how like you love him and he's like your soccer coach, and then come to find out he's kind of racist against the Albed. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? So it seriously, it was one of those things for me. I was like, this game is super deep, and I enjoyed it. So, woohoo!
What about you, Courtney?
That's a really good question. Like I mentioned before, I grew up watching a whole bunch of cartoons, and I don't think it wasn't until I was a little bit older that I realized that maybe I could voice a cartoon or voice someone animated. I was actually a child actor, and one of my first gigs is I was the voice of a character on an animated show. And that was the first role I ever got where I wasn't cast as a cheerleader. I had been cast as a cheerleader in like commercial, in a couple different like pilots. And I remember like I was so grateful for all the work I got. Like I loved acting. But I was so grateful to play a character who was quirky and different and just not a cheerleader. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and it's sort of, what I was saying earlier, where it was like, I don't have to be typecast. I could do anything here. And that was so like freeing and so like inspiring to me. And then I ended up quitting acting and just focusing on school, going to college. And then I realized I missed performing and I missed acting. And I thought at the time I was living up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I thought a good way to get back into it without necessarily moving to LA, which is what I eventually did, was to try my hand at some voice acting. And that's how I got to voice Tizo in Pyre, by auditioning for that role. And again, Tizo's a little imp, and in real life I am not. Well, I don't know. Some people might argue that, but yeah. So it was just like, one, I just have a really deep appreciation for animation, and I never even really like considered doing voice work in games. I didn't grow up with like a ton of games. We never had like a console at my house. My parents were definitely the parents who were like, video games rot your brain, but I did at one point convince my dad to buy me a copy of Doom when I went to Fry's with him by saying like, my friend has this game and she's allowed to play it. And my dad was like, okay, fine. But there's not really voice acting in that, just occasional like grunts.
Sure.
So
somebody had to do those.
Someone had to do those. Yeah. So voicing characters in video games, I didn't really even consider doing until later in life, and I'm so glad that I found it because it's been a really cool experience for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I think it'd be, I don't know what it's like to like voice a character in a game and then see it come to life. I do voiceover work in like videos and stuff, and like that's kind of fun to see. Like you go on YouTube and it's like, hey, look this, but like you guys are in a game. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Vorime, how you doing, buddy?
Well, we're coming up on the end here. Yeah.
I know, right? That's what I was like. I gotta check in with Vorime because he's just beating the game over here. We're just talking about whatever.
This is actually a really fast in-game time for
this
a
is
bow round.
Wild. To be under 6 minutes at the champions is color me impressed. Usually at 6 minutes, I'm still solidly in Asphodel. So. I don't know how you did it. Big congrats.
I'm definitely still walking around Zag's room, looking at everything.
Yeah. I'm looking in the mirror, looking at the different things, wondering why I'm not allowed to like buy anything. It's like because you haven't beat the game enough. I'm like, how can I? I don't get any of these power-ups. What do you want from me?
Vorime, I have another question for you, if you're able to answer it. Okay, I saw in the mirror for this run, you switched over to God's Pride. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so why?
You caught that quick.
The mirror I need to take notes on. So it's God's Pride and God's Legacy.
Yes.
And what's the difference between the two, and why did you make the change between those two runs?
So God's Legacy increases your odds of seeing duo boons and legendaries, and for the Nemesis Sword run, I really wanted to get Merciful End as the duo boon. It's really important for that run. And for Beowulf, I really wanted to get Mirage Shot, which unfortunately we didn't get, but that was the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
For Haribo, you really don't need any particular duo boon. You can just get away with having a few really nice boons. So just getting that extra bit of epic chance that you get from God's Pride for your boons to just have a little bit more base power. It's just, I think overall a little bit better.
Okay. I mean, it clearly is working out for you, because your time is pretty wild
this
right
run's
now.
Nice. Our Hades fight might be a little slow with this build, but
again,
everything
if
else
you
is
wouldn't
nice.
have told us, we wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known it. How often do things not go your way, Vorime, and you're just like, I'm never playing this game again?
Oh,
I'm done.
well,
Today is the day.
That not that often. I wouldn't say it never happens. I mean, sometimes you just get a really bad streak of luck. But part of the joy of running this game is the variety, is the fact that you kind of have to roll with the punches, take what the game's offering you, and make it work. So I don't know. I get joy out of it rather than getting upset. And we got a 2-sack. So this run's coming to a close pretty soon here.
How many times in today's run, like this stream here, how many times would you reset? Like, where are there anything?
Oh, I would have reset right at the start.
Really?
Oh yeah, on that sword run. The sword run was kind of brutal.
See, I had no idea. I was like, this is amazing. This is the world record. He's the best. Are you when you stream, are you like, not that this is a bad thing, but are you like reset heavy, or do you try to see runs through, or?
I think I tend to see runs through a bit more than other runners. Probably not to my benefit, but yeah, I just like playing the game. I just like being in the flow and finishing runs. It's just more fun for me. The goals will come eventually, right?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the stuff I've noticed, like when I speedrun games. It's like I'm kind of the same way. It's like I want to play the game. I want to see the ending and actually get through the game, play all the different levels. And if you're just restarting in the first 30 seconds, I don't know, it makes me miserable, but I understand why some people have to do it.
It's necessary for some people's goals. We're coming up on time. It'll be the last hit on Hades here. I'll call it out.
This is it. He doesn't stand a chance. I almost feel bad for Hades right now.
Fun little trick you can do with Haribo here is if you get Hades close to a wall, sometimes you can get the casts to just pop out instantly instead of stick inside, which can save a bit of time.
Do you know why that is? Is that just like a little
something
bug?
to do with the hitbox?
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure. And time. That's it.
Congrats, buddy.
Thanks.
Woo!
All right, Vorime. That was pretty fast.
Thank you.
So how did you feel about that run overall?
It was fine. It was it was a solid run. It's obviously not my fastest, but it's by far not my slowest either. So pretty pleased overall.
What would you say went right? Were there things that stood out where you're like, oh, that's very, very good, and things that you were like, oh, I would have reset this if people were not watching.
Yeah. So in this last run, this bow run, I mean, we got a ton of free rooms. I think we saw every story room. I'm pretty sure I got Sisyphus, Eurydice, and Patroclus, which is huge. Those save a ton of time over doing combat, and I got a bunch of items from the wells that like cast stones and stuff that made this run a little faster. The other runs weren't so lucky. Beowulf, we didn't find Mirage Shot, which is literally double damage, so you can imagine how much that speeds things up. And the sword run, we didn't find Merciful End until a little late. You usually want to find that pretty early on. So, but overall happy.
So you beat the game 3 times in 55 minutes and 50 seconds. To someone like me, that's amazing. How's that feel for you?
Yeah, again, I'm pleased with it.
He's like, it's whatever, you know. Beat the game 3
Very
times in an
humble.
hour. Super casual. Could have been better. Well, Vorime, if people want to keep watching you beat the game over and over incredibly fast, where can they find you on Twitch or socials or anything you want to plug?
Yeah, so on Twitch, you can just find me, twitch.tv/Vorime, or you can find me on YouTube, Vorime there as well. If you just look up the name, you'll find me.
And Francesca, where can we find you on the internet?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Fantastic22.
And Courtney?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Cortenberry, and I'm also on Twitter at Vineys.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Mark_Medina, and I don't have any other social, so don't try to find me. And thank you all for watching. Remember, there's no smarter choice than a Windows PC packed with the power of the Intel Evo platform. Check out windows.com/made-to-inspire to see how Windows and Intel can bring your ideas to life. And for more speedruns, make sure to check out IGN.com.